Shalom Israel. First, I want to start by giving all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors unto the elders, apostles, and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who rule well, teach, and edify, and Shalom. Unto you, hopefully, like document Aquad in this household of faith. My name is Yeshaya. I'm going to make an edifying video. I saw this scientists begin working to create artificial human DNA. Right, and Esau, he's the scriptures refer to him, wiser than Daniel. The Lord's gifted him great wisdom on the left-hand side to work his wicked enterprises, which is really that NWO, which ushers in that that charagma, and all the things that come with that. But he also does things like broader. So lately, you've been seeing more in articles and things like that he's been trying to create, asexual life, one gender life. You see certain things where they're trying to grow people. I believe bro mentioned something about like designer babies. Like they'll take a DNA and mix it up together to have certain facial features and hair types and and basically make it so that where you can choose what your kid looks like, choose to what how tall they'll end up, all the different type of attributes they can choose what their seed is going to end up like, and this is Esau. Eat him in a fucking handful, bro, because he wants to make himself the Lord. He wants to make himself the Heavenly Father, and you can get a precept on that here in Ezekiel, the 28th chapter. I'll start at the top. It says, the word of the Lord Yahweh came again, saying unto me, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am the Most High. I will sit in the seat of the Most High, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man, and not a God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High. And this is talking about Esau, which is the modern day white man. All the different denominations that there are, man. Them Russians, the Germans. You got Edomites all over the world, man. And you can see the nature of an Edomite as well, man. They're very proud. They do things in a fashion of fuck people over. They don't do it in a fashion of of caring for people. They're that wicked ruler that's ruling this earth in unjustness, man. Like that's why you see the things that are happening. That's why you see the earth, waxing worse and worse. And let me get this precept in Isaiah 14 and 4. That reads, Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, and we know America right now is spiritually Babylon the Great, and say, how has the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? Right, so you can even see that this country is waxing worse and worse by the way that they're ruling this, man. Their wickedness is being accounted for. The Lord takes account. That which you sow, you shall also reap, as the scriptures say. And this man has sown a lot of wickedness, and he's going to reap back the same. That's why they're going to go into captivity under us in the kingdom, right? And then they'll be extinct after 1,000 years. Getting that in Obadiah, right? Because that's their just punishment. That's literally what they deserve. The Lord is perfect in his judgment. When you have a man that's literally trying to get rid of the Lord, he's literally trying to make himself immortal through technology, man. There's a word for it, but technocracy. Yeah, technocracy. He's trying to basically just remove the Lord and establish himself based on that technology. And when you have something like AI is a demon, bro. That goes into like an information god. You search up on AI something, man, it'll tell you the answer to whatever the fuck you think in a complex way. Right? And Esau is actually starting to use that in a sense where they're just letting AI make the decisions for them. You know what I'm saying? That's that technocracy, bro. And the thing is that people are so dependent on technology nowadays, that you can't really escape it. Your phones are all over your place, man. And soon enough, Esau is going to start pushing out that RFID microchip. And if you take that, there's no repenting, because now you're programmed under him, bro. You were literally shackled under the chains of that charagma. Khan, yeah, you have bowed the knee to that, to Esau and his system, the beast system. All right. So that's why it's so important to, for the prophets right now, tell you what it is, bro, because Esau tries to do it subtly. He'll try to usher it into you, in a sense of as if, he's trying to do you some good. Let's actually get that real quick, because going into the nature of Esau, you have to be circumspect of the fucking things that he does, because he's a very subtle, cunning man, in ways of wickedness. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Lord said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So really the point being, the serpent was more subtle than any beast in the field. And what is that serpent? That's Esau, Edom. Before he was called Esau in the garden, that's who that man was. All right, that devil, man. And he's coming after who? He's coming after Jake's, man. And he's done that shit all the way since the foundation, bro. He's that man that sold his birthright for one morsel of meat, right? He's that evil, wicked ruler, with no integrity and no fucks. He just does whatever he wants to do, and he wants to establish himself so proud. You know what I'm saying? Reading the 5th verse, it says, and the Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the ruler. So soon enough, this technology, this technocracy, and this, this reliance on this shit is going to be, severed from them. Verse 6, and he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. All right, verse 7, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. So, the way he's ruling this place, you're going to see the earth, rejuvenate. It's going to come back even better than it was before, because this wicked ruler, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, is going to be removed from him. All right, and it's going to be given unto righteous judgment. Bros is over here by the beach, man. We just looking around this coast, man. And it's a beautiful sight because, the Lord makes something so great. But how much better would it be when the water is actually clean and clear? How much better would it be when all these trees and shit are full and healthy? How much better would it be when these birds, don't got no fucking, plagues on them and shit? How much better would it be when you don't see these fuck-ass boats all up in the water, digging up all the fish that are all corrupt too, man? All them fish got parasites and shit. How much better would it be when that coastline is looking clean? No fucking trash, Circle K bullshit up there, nothing like that, man. The earth is gonna rejoice when Esau Edom is put away. You know what I'm saying?
Revelation 11:18, bro.
Yeah, Revelation. Let me get that, bro. Revelation 11:18 reads, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and thou shouldest give reward unto the servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear the name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. So the Lord is really going to put that spirit back. We're going to, the elect, chiefly the 144,000, are to be rulers over this earth. It's going to be put into them, and even the smallest to the greatest, being, like that spirit of being like a doorkeeper in the kingdom, which is really, it doesn't matter if you're the number one guy or the 144,000th guy. You're going to be ruling righteously, and everything under you is going to be flourishing, because the spirit of the Lord is in you. Right? You have not bowed the knee, and the Lord's going to bless you for that. We've spent a lot of fucking time in this wicked ass world, doing all this bullshit with these people. It's about time that we get the fuck out of here.
Bro, you gonna come? It says, the time of the dead that they should be judged, that thou shouldest give reward. So the Lord, he's coming to destroy and to give reward to his elect.
That's right.
And then at the very end, it says, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. The Lord, he's coming back to take what's his, because everything under the sun, the earth, everything is the Lord's. So,
right.
It's like that badass kid, that's in charge right now. But new management is on the way.
Facts. Ezekiel 28:3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten these riches. And it's talking about Esau. And hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By the great wisdom and by thy traffic, Slakia, hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. And he's a proud man because he has money, man. The Rothschilds, talk about, whoever controls the banks, controls the country. You know, the Rothschilds really go into them, them small hats, bro. You know, the elites, right? The richest of the rich of this world that are calling the shots in secret councils. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord established those secret councils pursuant to Job, the 5th chapter, starting at the 13th verse. You know, at the end of the day, this is all the Lord's movie, and we're watching it play out, you know? And going back to the original topic of that article of, Esau trying to, create life of his own, you know what I'm saying? Engineering DNA. Who gave Esau the power to split an atom? Who gave Esau the power to learn 5G Wi-Fi? Who gave, Esau the power, to start maneuvering and creating AI, all through coding and in different, technological advancements? It's the Lord that gave him that power, and it's the Lord that's going to smite him back down for that.
Isaiah 54:16 says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals of the fire, and bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created a waster to destroy." So ultimately, it's the Lord that entailed Esau to this knowledge, because you don't just, like, how do you wake up with the knowledge of making a bomb? The Lord, that's spiritual, that's divine intervention right there. That's the Lord literally, like, instilling, that thought, in the process to how to, create these things, specifically the missile. But as you're talking about, bro, the technology and AI and stuff like that, like, it's on a high level.
And check it, bro. Esau's a man. He came like cliff dwellers, man. The Esau called them like the Neanderthals and the fucking cavemen. That's the fucking motherfucker that we're dealing with. This absolute dirty dumbass, but the Lord has given them, riches and power and the sword and knowledge to where they're able to rule this earth. Go ahead, bro.
That's right. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. So who's ruling over us right now? Who's ruling over us? Who's so proud that thinking that it was because of them? No, it's because of the Lord. But ultimately the Lord, he's lifting y'all up so he can bring you down.
That's facts. And who's he gonna bring up right after that? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the elect, right? Chiefly the 144,000 ruling class elect that the Lord beloved and has had since the foundation of this earth, as the scriptures say. This is a predestined matter and an inheritance that's been planned since the beginning.
Look right here, bro. 2 Ezra 6:9 says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it." So when they say the world is ending, the world ain't ending. It's just your kingdom is ending. The earth abideth forever, as it says in Ecclesiastes. So we are next. Lord willing, we probably elect. Ultimately, all Israel is gonna be on top, in their righteous order.
And things are going to go back to their intended purpose. We're not going to be, in the kingdom, we're not going to be engineering DNA, to fucking, incubate a woman or even just do technological incubations, because they do shit like that. They try to grow human beings. We're not going to be doing no stupid shit like that. We're going to do it the way that the Lord set it up to be done. Things returning back to a righteous nature. The birds are going to get up and fly. Your feet are going to move and walk. And the fruit are gonna grow back on the trees, and the grass is gonna be healthy. Not no fucking shit what Esau does. You got artificial grass, you got fake ass legs, you got fucking bionic features and things like that. That technocracy, fucking incubated human beings. Like, how does Esau expect to create a spirit into that fucking thing? That right there, yeah, you might be able to create a fucking technical life, but there's no fucking spirit behind it. Going back to the way that things are supposed to be done is what we're looking forward to. Verse 6, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee. The terrible of the nations, they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness." Esau's going to be brought down, man. The rest of these nations are going to turn against them. The beast shall hate the whore. All these nations, even the allied nations, are gonna turn right against fucking Babylon the Great, and they gonna smear this fucking place, man. And the wicked elites that are in their hidden places and their bunkers and shit like that. The elect gonna go get them motherfuckers, bro. Chiefly the Lord Yahweh Shai is gonna go come back and get them. All right. It's gonna be a terrible time to be one of them motherfuckers when we coming into. The Lord's coming back to bring judgment. Isaiah 47 and verse 3. I will not meet thee as a man. The Lord's not coming back in the same flesh and body that he came in the first place. All right, he's coming back, and it's gonna be it's like, I don't know if y'all bros ever like played that game Clash of Clans or some shit, you know, or something like that, to where you can kind of get the thought process of an absolute teardown when you just setting up an army against a little kingdom that cannot handle that army. Not a single soldier is gonna die. We're talking an absolute fucking 0 to 100 type of thing, bro. Like they're not gonna be able to fight back. They're gonna try to fight back, but they're not gonna be able to do shit.
Scripture says the Lord it's only going to take the Lord 1 hour to lay this place desolate. And this place, Babylon, is huge. 1 hour for this place to be desolate. That's a major destruction.
It's facts. It's not going to be very long to when when the Lord lays this place out. It's going to be an absolute fucking, I don't know, it's like NBA versus Pee Wee League. And we talking whole fucking, like, it's just going to get destroyed, man. And that's the judgment that this place deserves. But I don't want to that was an edifying lesson. I want to lastly give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash, Shalom.